This was the shit post that I did. I was like, Republicans are afraid of this silly little anime fox girl. Got posted on Insane Cope. Anyway, I was on Reddit. I was searching for my name, like I sometimes do. And then I sought by new to see what is happening. And I saw this. r/conservative youth. Are y'all scared? And I saw this. Hear me out. It's a dude, bro. W. Conservatives. Of course it's a conservative. And then a reply to the hear me out got deleted, but their response was, all I'm saying is I wouldn't mind if she did something to me. Libertarian Republican. She-based? Yeah, I mean, didn't realize the flags or gendered me correctly, huh? I could take it. Why do they take it so seriously? Why are they so triggered? I also have like, there's so many like replies and of people being like, oh, there's nothing about my gun. Oh, haven't you heard don't bring a knife to a gunfight? And it's like, yeah, has she ever heard don't bring a knife to a gunfight? Like, what the f? They don't get that it's like the meme because it's like the color red and it's like communism. It's the Red Scare reference. It was like in reference because I saw this on Twitter where people were like, oh, Americans are, or like Republicans are still scared of like the color red because people were like freaking out and, you know, Joe Biden colored red or like a stage was in red or something. And they were like freaking out. I never go on conservative subreddits. Their comments are so toxic and hateful. Yeah, I wouldn't have known about this, but like I literally just look for my name every now and then and filter by new just to see what's going on. I heard you finally accepted your role as the hear me out. But like, chat, libertarian Republican, hear me out. Imagine if he saw you mentioning him on stream. This guy? Honestly, if I'm your hear me out, that's kind of based. I can do a lot of things with my knife. Also can do this. Dark mode. Oh my god. It's dark mode, Nyara. This is what the woke left wants. Me? Nyara got chasers? I feel like a lot of people who obsess over me are actually kind of chasers. You know, especially like the ones who go out and look for my ASMR content and then they shame me for my voice and they say that my voice isn't sexy enough. Oh, I can't goon to your voice. You shouldn't do this. Hey, I'm not a chaser. I'm a lesbian bottom. No, it's about the right wingers, not about chat. Also, I'm no chaser. I just like your content. Based. You don't have to chase. You don't have to chase after me. I made a poll. I don't know if I can find it. There we go. Chat, do you goon to my voice? And I did no, shut up. Of course. And yes, disrespectfully. And then show results as like a no. And it's basically 50-50. Congratulations. You know you successfully passed if you manage to rile up cis hetero man. No, it's just like it's like a common thing that conservatives view a lot of trans porn because it's like their fooder dream or something, which is incredibly gross. It's like that asshole a few months ago that pretended to be trans for a month and tried to shame the LGBTQ community for being supportive. Guy had literally been dating a trans woman, got dumped, and had one of those crash outs. Yeah, the guy who had like a more versatile wardrobe and was basically posting a selfie in a different dress every single day. Why is it gross? Isn't fooder just a fetish? Because viewing trans women as a fooder is just kind of gross. Because it's sexualizing trans women and, you know, perceiving our existence as nothing other than a fetish. It's like the same type of mindset where people are like, oh, best of both worlds. If you have it as a kink, it's fine. There are so many people who literally, so many cis men who seek out trans women and obsess over their genitalia and literally like shame us if we have bottom surgery and so on. Transgender existence is not a fetish. Yeah, we don't exist for the sexual pleasure of cis men. I've gotten the best of both worlds line as a trans man and I hate it. Understandable. It's just gross. You wouldn't go around referencing to people with fetish terminology or treat people as sex objects, right? I mean, conservatives do that with cis women too. But they think that, like, the only reason why a man would ever be a trans woman is to basically be a sex object for men. That is why they sexualize us. That's why they obsess over genitalia and stuff. So in a twisted way, us being seen as a fetish proves my theory that trans women are socially and not seen as men. Yeah, but like trans misogyny and like that, it is incredibly gross to just be seen as like a kink, as just a fetish. And these people actively want to take away our rights away, so we get ostracized even further, so we go into sex work so they can you know, we can't get the treatment, we can't get gender affirming surgeries, we can't get bottom surgeries and stuff like that. Like a lot go into sex work, and then conservative men are purchasing the services of trans women. Trans women get arrested, they get shoved into prisons where they're being forced into men's prisons, cells with sex offenders, with abusive men, predatory men. Where they get assaulted and so on. It is a whole societal issue, and a lot of the rhetoric and so on boils down to this. This is not about like, oh, we are just protecting the women and the children. It's literally like, it just boils down to we want to control trans women and use them for sexual pleasure. So right for people to have a genital preference, isn't it? I'm not super familiar with this type of discourse, sure, but you having a certain preference doesn't mean other people, like, you get to control labels like how some people don't want to acknowledge that trans men, gay trans men exist, because then they're just straight women. Or they do the same with like trans women. They're like, oh, you're not a lesbian, you're just a straight man, like that. Oh, why would a lesbian woman, why would a real lesbian woman be interested in a trans woman? Because the genitals. If you start controlling the these labels and you shame cis women, lesbian cis women who do date trans women, you're not doing anything by gatekeeping these words. You're actively harming the entire community. Preference doesn't equal sexual obsession. That's also like a good a valid point. I'm not a trap. Why would I lie to white cis men? I'm not Fox News. If I wanted to be a trap, I wouldn't be a trans woman. I would literally sell men a NFT. So they're technically people that are into trans women that have not had a bottom surgery. They obsess over women with penises. You can tell pretty quickly if someone is a chaser or not, if they literally change their tone once they find out that you're trans, and then whether or not you had bottom surgery. This is a femboy, this is a trans woman, and this is a bear trap. The only thing they have in common is their capability to break your shit. I'm weak. As a trans woman, I'm incredibly weak. Isn't lesbians are into trans woman anal? Lesbians doesn't mean sexual. Trans women are women. How you have sex is your personal preference, and that is something for the bedroom. Making romantic attraction about sex is literally the mindset that the manosphere is pushing when it comes to like a man only dates a woman in order to spread their seeds. Some people like Jesus, but I find it really creepy personally. I feel like the only reason why a trans person would like Jesus is because they do sex work and that is their clientele. Like, that is the group that gives them money. I'm gonna be honest about gender preference. Most people who say they have a gender preference, from what I've seen, have a lot of internalized bigotry to varying degrees. I'm not saying all people with gender preferences are transphobic, but most people, including most trans people, have a lot of internalized transphobia. It's just because like society pushes the idea that it's like reproductive and stuff like that. Conservatives and so on obsess over sex. I'm gonna train your brittle trans woman arms until you're full-blown Amazonian warrior capable of breaking the shins of reactionaries. Now give me a 5-set 20 maggot. I don't know. I do like the idea of being like fragile and weak and easily get pinned to the wall. You know, like obviously I'm talking about like a consensual relationship and like a safe environment. Getting pinned to the wall and feeling helpless towards my partner is just like, it's so hard. Just that the current day trans people are still a bit odd to most people, and people tend to dislike anything that they think is odd. Hopefully that will change. That happens because we don't have representation. We don't have good representation. We're a small minority. Most people have never even heard about a trans person. They have never interacted with a trans person. They hear the narrative of the media. And a lot of, especially like conservatives and so on, only know us from porn. That's why they also like push the idea that children can't be trans. You know, now is not the time to be bottom. Wow, okay. Like being weak because I was constantly told I'm big strong boy man growing up. I was 19 when I heard about trans the very first time. I think I was 17. You know what's crazy? When I was like 15 or something, I saw a video, like literally the full process of a surgeon performing bottom surgery on someone. And I didn't look deeper into it. I still didn't discover about like trans people. How much actually is it? I've heard it's super expensive, but never more than that. It depends on your area. I actually had it covered by my health insurance here in Germany. I know that like in America, there are like numbers of like $50,000, $30,000, depending on if you have insurance or not and in which state you're in. I know that like in Thailand, you more have like numbers of like 15,000. Places are super creepy, unethical, transphobic, and are way too obsessed. They should spend their time doing something else, like exercising, learning something new, doing charity work. Yeah, but like that would mean that they care about someone other than themselves, and that they understand that what they are doing is wrong, which a lot of these people don't. They're isolated. They're online a lot. A lot of them have porn addictions. Their algorithm feeds them a certain narrative. Lucy! Lucy, speaking of bottom, how you doing, puppy? Lucy, I got a huge compliment. Your voice sounds like a fox turned human, not gonna lie. Honestly, the trans people I tend to meet tend to be incredibly accepting and genuinely empathetic. Just nice to be around them. I mean, that's like pretty much the majority of the trans community. Like, the problem is just you only hear about the outliers. I mean, you do kind of sound like a fox. I wonder why that is.
Everybody hates that.